Hey Pewter Report listeners, James Hill here back with yet another video, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have officially whittled their roster down to their initial 53 players. We're going to be going over the final chunk of players that were released. A lot of this came out yesterday, a little bit of it came out today, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Safety, Richard LeCounte II was released, quarterback John Wolford, tight end Tanner Taula, wide receiver Ryan Miller, wide receiver David Moore, tight end Dominique Daphne, wide receiver Cephas Johnson, offensive lineman Luke Haggard, offensive lineman Silas Deans, offensive lineman Chris Murray, offensive lineman Raekwon O'Neal, inside linebacker J.J. Russell, and cornerback Keenan Isaac were the final chunk of players that were released from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their effort to get down to 53 players. And there are a couple of names that are notable on this list for me, right? Firstly, quarterback John Wolford. Now, I have really no doubts that Wolford will probably be back in some way, shape, or form on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice squad, possibly even be elevated to the team's active roster in a couple of situations as well, especially given the new rule that they have where you can have essentially an emergency third quarterback. I think Wolford is still going to be a necessary piece for this Buccaneers team moving forward. But I was a big fan of John Wolford. I thought he did some really, really good stuff in the preseason and in training camp and whatnot. And overall, I think he's going to be a good guy to still have around. David Moore is a pretty interesting one. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are initially only going with 5 wide receivers, but much like in the case of John Wolford, if there isn't or I guess I should say, if Moore does not take an opportunity elsewhere, really believe that David Moore will be back on the team's practice squad, be able to showcase what he can do. We saw good things from Moore in preseason and in training camp as well. He's a guy that really you could have as a fourth or even possibly third wide receiver rotating in there. I think that Moore is going to be one of those guys that is going to be back and be a guy that can still be a decent part of this offense moving forward. Besides that, you do have some very interesting names. Chris Murray was an interesting prospect coming out of the NFL draft with guard and center versatility. He could potentially be back on the practice squad as well. J.J. Russell is really interesting to me, right? I think that he was one of the most standout defensive players in the entirety of the team in training camp and in preseason. I mean, his final preseason game, he had 11 total tackles for the team. Again, I know I've been saying this in the past couple of videos. I really don't have many doubts that he will be back on the practice squad. Once that is done, we'll probably talk about that in a separate video as well. But J.J. Russell, good player. Think that if they would have kept 5 linebackers, almost a guarantee that he would have been a part of that process and been on that roster. Was not the case, though, and now he will likely be back with the practice squad. But honestly, a guy like J.J. Russell wouldn't surprise me if he got an opportunity to be on a roster elsewhere or be on another practice squad elsewhere with potentially better opportunities moving forward. So we will have to see, wait and see on that. But again, folks, it's never fun, right, to see people lose their jobs. So I wish nothing but the best for these guys moving forward and in whatever path it takes them, be it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, be it with the NFL in general, with other teams and whatnot. Hopefully these guys can land on their feet somewhere and make the most of their opportunities. Every single guy battled and competed, throughout training camp, throughout the preseason, and didn't make it necessarily with the Bucs right away, but you never know what the future holds. Some of these guys could be back. Some of these guys could go off to other teams. And I always say this, you never know who could make an impact. But folks, what do you think about these final roster cuts from the Bucs in an effort to get down to 53 players? Would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about this down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, folks, we'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. Stay safe out there, by the way, as the hurricane tropical storm is coming to the west coast of Florida. Stay safe, folks. We're going to be hunkered down here at Pewter Report, keeping you guys, as always, updated on everything going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But again, thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. See you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now. See you soon.